Late at night, at the foot of Changbai Mountain, Barina was wrapped in a thick deerskin jacket. Dragging his elderly father, young Zheng walked out of the mountains. Recently, the temperature in Changbai Mountain has dropped very sharply, reaching -30 degrees at the lowest night. Under normal circumstances, the two were unwilling to go out after being killed, but because of clear requirements, they had to go into the mountains to gather ginseng. Only enough ginseng can be exchanged for food, medicine, kerosene, and firewood for heating. After all, in such a cold day, the energy consumption for heating every day is very high. It is difficult to pick up enough firewood alone. It must be matched with a certain amount of kerosene. The father and son ran into the mountains for a day today and only picked 6 or 7 small ginseng roots, which is only enough for them to exchange for tomorrow's rations. Young Zheng was tired and hungry, and his lips were purple with cold. Although Barina is physically better than him, he also felt a huge physical load. Now Changbai Mountain has begun to cover with snow, and it is very difficult to walk in the deep mountains, which consumes a lot of physical strength, but the ginseng is collected less and less, which means that they have to go deeper into the mountains every time than the last time. It's midnight to come back, and in a few days, maybe they have to live in the mountains at night. Young Zheng stretched out his hand and grabbed a handful of snow, tucked it into his mouth, opened his chapped lips and said, "My son will continue this way. I'm afraid I won't be able to survive this winter. After I die, you must live strong alone." And saying that we have to live on everything, and if we find a way to save our Wei family, if we have a chance to kill Oris Hill and take back our Wei's pharmaceutical, that would be great. Barina panted heavily and comforted, "Dad, don't say that. Although the conditions in Changbai Mountain are quite difficult, I feel that after you come to Changbai Mountain, your body is better than before." As he said, he couldn't help sighing. "You used to toss your body so badly. Your vitality was exhausted early, and you never exercise, walk very little, and your body is getting worse every day. Now you are in Changbai Mountain every day. Searching ginseng, you exercise so much every day, I think you have a lot of toughness. If you stick to it, I think you can live a long time." Young Zheng sat down in the thick snow and couldn't help feeling, "What you said makes sense. I really feel that my body is much stronger than before. I used to breathe hard after walking a few steps. Now I can go into the mountains. Pick ginseng for a day." Having said that, he sighed and sighed. "It's all because I didn't know how to cherish when I was young. If I overdrawn my body early, you must take a warning in the future and don't follow my old path." Barina also simply sat down next to him and took pictures with the bright flashlight in his hand. The snow and trees around him were depressed and said, "I want to go your old way, but I don't have a chance, you see. In this broken mountain and old forest, even the female bear is hibernating. Where can I find a woman to overdraw?" Young Zheng couldn't help but smile. When it comes to women, his son is really inferior to him. When he was young, he was really merciful, and probably more women had played with him than he had ever seen. Thinking about it this way, his life has not been in vain. When Barina thought of a woman, he couldn't help sighing. Speaking of women, Wendy from the Wilson family in Oris Hill really makes me miss it. I don't know if I have a chance to go back in this life. I can go back. I must find her and fight. 300 rounds. Young Zheng patted him on the shoulder, encouraged him, and said, "I believe that we, father and son, must turn over one day." The Wei family, father and son, were dreaming of turning over. Suddenly, a violent cold wind came from the bottom of Changbai Mountain, making them tremble. Young Zheng sighed. "Damn, the wind in this ghost place is so fierce. A gust of wind made my whole body cold. Let's go quickly." "Okay." Barina also felt cold and bitter and quickly shrank his neck, got up and patted the snow on his thought and stretched out his hand to his father. It has to be said that the relationship between the father and son during the period when they were dependent on each other in Changbai Mountain has improved a lot than before. In the past, although young Zheng preferred this eldest son, in fact, for a selfish person like him, it was difficult to really treat him well. Therefore, he is actually fair to Barina, better than Liang. Barina, who has always been a dude, thinks about playing with women every day and is not very close to his father. This is mainly because when Barina was young, he often listened to his mother's indoctrination that his father, regardless of his family, raised women everywhere. This made Barina dissatisfied with the old master ever since he was a child. However, when they arrived at Changbai Mountain, the father and son had to work together for survival, which also allowed the two to let go of their prejudices and become increasingly dependent on each other. Everyone knows that you can't lose the other party in this environment. If you lose the other person, the remaining person must have no courage or ability to continue to live. The father and son walked from the foot of the mountain towards the stray light in the distance. The place with light is the village where they live. Walking past the foot of the mountain, there are 3 or 4 miles away. When the father and son were walking, Barina said, "Dad, a man from the village hunted a roe deer from the mountain yesterday. I heard that the roe deer meat is delicious. Would you like to visit his house later? 2 kilograms of roe deer meat will be fine. Follow his meat?" Young Zheng sighed. The guy is very picky. Last time he hunted a big wild boar weighing more than 500 kilograms. I asked him for a piece of pig intestine and he didn't give it to me. Let me give him money.